When was the last time you stopped to think about who was near you at the moment you made an important financial decision? Be honest. There is a principle in Kabbalah that rabbis have preserved for centuries within close study circles, and that most people will never hear in a common synagogue, let alone in an internet video. This principle states that the energy of prosperity does not travel alone. It travels through fields. And these fields are contaminated or purified by the people who orbit around your financial decisions. 5 specific types of presence can act as what the Kabbalistic tradition calls mesitim, field disruptors. And today I will reveal to you who these 5 are, how to recognize them, and the protection strategies that the rabbis use to shield the flow of prosperity before any important decision. Stay until the end, because the 5th type is the most dangerous, and it's the one that most people never suspect. Subscribe to the channel now if you haven't done so yet. Activate the bell, and tell me in the comments, have you ever made a financial decision in the presence of someone, and then felt that something had gone wrong since that moment? Tell me what happened. I want to read every story. Today you will discover 3 fundamental things. First, what Kabbalah understands by the energy field of prosperity and why it is vulnerable to the presence of specific people. Second, the 5 types of disturbing presence with their Hebrew names and their recognizable characteristics. Third, the complete protection strategy that the rabbis taught before any significant transaction, negotiation or money decision. Before diving into the teachings, let me tell you a story I heard in the family. Imagine a Jewish merchant, I'll call him Rabbi in this parable, who had a tiny hardware store in a port city at the beginning of the last century. Rabbi had a habit that the neighbors found eccentric. Every time he was about to close an important deal, buying stock, signing a contract, receiving a large payment, he would first step out of the store for a few minutes, walk around the block, breathe, and return. And he always entered through the back door, not the front one. When his eldest daughter asked why he did this, he explained with a simple phrase: "Before receiving blessing, I clear the path through which it will enter." Rabbi Yaakov's children inherited this habit and understood it more deeply over time. It was not superstition. It was a conscious practice of checking the state of their own internal field and the field of space before allowing valuable energy to enter. This parable captures something that Kabbalah has systematized with precision. The flow of shefa, of prosperity, is highly sensitive to the state of the environment, not just physical but human. The people present at the moment of a transaction affect the quality of the energy that circulates in that act. To understand why this happens, I need to explain a fundamental concept. In Hebrew, avira, literally atmosphere or air. But in the mystical tradition, avira refers to the invisible field that each person carries with them and that radiates to the surrounding environment. Kabbalists taught that the human being does not end at the skin. They project a field of consciousness that interacts with the fields of those nearby. And when this field is disturbed, by envy, by fear, by bitterness, by impure intention, it affects the avira of the space where decisions are made. This is not abstract mysticism. It is a refined observation of a phenomenon that any perceptive person has already noticed. There are meetings where everything flows, and there are meetings where something invisible weighs. There are business conversations where the energy is clean, and there are others where something is wrong, but you can't name what it is. Kabbalistic tradition names this phenomenon and offers tools to work with it. And the 5 types of mesisim, field disruptors, are the most consistent patterns that the wise have identified over generations of observation. The first type, in Hebrew, Amkane, the silent, envious one. This is not the type that openly demonstrates envy. This is the hardest to identify because he smiles, he congratulates, he says he is happy for your achievement. But within him operates a contrary movement, a desire for you not to rise higher than he. Kabbalah calls this state Ayin Hara, the evil eye. And let me be clear about what this means in Jewish tradition. Ayin Hara is not a curse cast with intention. It is a field of energy generated by the gaze of someone who unconsciously wishes for the downfall of another. It is a phenomenon of consciousness, not black magic. And tradition takes it seriously, not out of superstition, but out of the observation that human consciousness has weight and affects the reality around it. How to recognize the Amekane? He always knows your numbers. He asks for values. He wants to know how much you paid, how much you received, what it's worth. His financial curiosity is not celebration, it's measurement. He is constantly comparing his position with yours. What to do? Never discuss specific values, financial details, or prosperity plans in the presence of this type. Share achievements only after they are consolidated, never before or during. The second type. In Hebrew, Amiaesh, the prophet of discouragement. This is the one who always has a reason why your idea won't work. A story of someone who tried the same and failed. A grim statistic. I'm saying this for your own good. His energy is not necessarily malicious. Often, he genuinely believes what he is saying. But the effect on the field of prosperity is devastating. Kabbalah teaches that prosperity begins in an internal state that the wise called emunah, faith, trust, certainty that the flow is real and accessible. The Ameyaesh directly attacks the field of emunah. Every word he says is like a small stone thrown into a calm lake. It creates waves of doubt that expand and contaminate the clarity of decision-making. How to recognize the Ameyaesh? He starts sentences with, but what if? The problem is that. I've seen this before and you need to be realistic. His skepticism is an automatic reflex, not careful analysis. What to do? Make important financial decisions before consulting him. If you need his contact, present established facts, not plans open to comment. The third type, in Hebrew, Adochek. The urgency pusher. This is the one who always creates haste where there is no haste. You need to decide now. This opportunity closes today. If you wait, you will lose. The energy of Adoshek is the antithesis of what Kabbalah calls bitachon, the calm confidence that the right timing exists and that forcing timing rarely produces real prosperity. A pattern that often appears in stories of poor financial decision is the presence of someone who generated artificial urgency. The haste closed the space for discernment. The decision was made in the realm of fear and not in the realm of clarity, and the consequences were felt long afterward. How to recognize Adoshek? It creates a scarcity of time as a central argument. It removes the space for reflection. It becomes anxious when you say, I will think. What to do? The classic answer from the rabbis was simple and direct. Any decision that cannot wait 24 hours should not be made. If the opportunity disappears after 24 hours of reflection, it was not an opportunity, it was a trap. The fourth type, in Hebrew, Amitraem, the chronic resentful. This is the one who carries a permanent story of injustice. The world owes him. He never received what he deserved. Circumstances have always conspired against him. And when he is close to you in a moment of financial decision, this victim narrative contaminates the avira of the space. Kabbalah teaches that prosperity flows toward what the wise called simcha, joy, lightness, openness. The Amitraem carries the opposite of this, a density of accumulated hurt that weighs on the field of any environment where he is. It is not necessarily his fault. Life may have genuinely been difficult. But the effect on the field of those around him is real. How to recognize the Amitraem? He often redirects conversation about his prosperity to the injustices he has suffered. His success reminds him of his failure, and he needs to rebalance this narratively. What to do? Maintain emotional distance during financial decisions. Compassion for his pain, but do not allow his field of resentment to enter the space of your prosperity choices. And now the fifth type, the most dangerous, what most never suspect. In Hebrew, Amsapek, the generator of internal doubt. This is not an external person. This is you yourself. The voice inside you that says you don't deserve, that you will lose anyway, that you have tried before and it didn't work, that who are you to have this level of prosperity. This voice is the most powerful messicim of all because it has unrestricted access to your internal field. It is present in every decision. It never needs an invitation. It never lives on its own. The rabbis call this presence Yetzer Hara, the opposing impulse. And they taught that protecting the field of prosperity invariably begins with working on that internal disruptor before worrying about the external ones. How to recognize the Amesapek? It speaks in the first person. It uses its own voice. It knows your weaknesses with surgical precision. And it intensifies exactly when you are about to make a courageous decision. What to do? Kabbalistic tradition has a direct answer. Do not fight with the Amesapek. That only strengthens it. You recognize it by name, declare your intention out loud despite the doubt, and act. Conscious action despite doubt is what the wise called gvura, applied character strength. Now, the complete protection strategy. The formula that the rabbis use before any important financial decision. Step 1. The clean space. Before any meeting, negotiation, or venue decision, take 5 minutes alone, no cell phone, no other people. Or Rabbi Yaakov from our parable was walking around the block. The principle is the same. You need to establish a clean personal field before entering the shared field of the transaction. Step 2. The shield of Emunah. In these 5 minutes alone, take a deep breath and quietly repeat 3 times. The flow of Shefa is real, it is available to me now. No external presence can block what the Eternal has determined for me. It is not arrogance, it is an affirmation of Emunah, of fundamental trust in the flow. Step 3. The recognition of the gifts. Before starting any important financial conversation, do a quick mental scan of the people present. Not with paranoia, with discernment. Ask internally, who in this environment is genuinely aligned with my good? Who might be operating with a disturbed field? Step 4. The shielding of intention. For each person you identified as potentially disturbing, mentally apply what the Kabbalists called masach, a curtain, a membrane of separation. It is not rejection of the person, it is protection of the decision field. You can love someone and still not allow their disturbed field to enter your financial choices. Step 5. The post-decision anchoring. Immediately after making an important financial decision, perform a deliberate act of gratitude. It can be silent, it can be a short phrase. I am grateful for this move, may it be for blessing. This act closes the decision field and seals it with simcha, with energy of joy, instead of leaving it open to later contamination from doubt or outside comments. Do these 5 steps for 21 days for each financial decision that arises, small or large. Do not reserve it only for the big moments. Train the field in small decisions so that it is robust when the big opportunity comes. With consistent practice, this strategy cultivates a quality of presence and discernment in your financial decision that did not exist before. You begin to notice more clearly when an environment is clear and when it is disturbed. This perception is in itself a form of chokhmah, wisdom, the kind that is not learned from a book but developed through trained attention. I need to talk to you about something before finishing. This teaching is not an invitation to distrust everyone or to close your heart. Jewish tradition deeply values community, trust, and openness to others. What we are talking about here is discernment, not paranoia. There is a huge difference between closing your heart out of fear and protecting the decision-making field through wisdom. The former contracts shefa, the latter preserves it. And always remember, the internal Amesapek is the first to work. Before seeking external disruptors, check the internal field. Often, what seems like an external blockage is a reflection of an internal doubt that has not yet been confronted. I am not promising that this strategy will solve all the financial problems in your life. I am saying that it cultivates, with real and consistent practice, a different quality of awareness in your decisions. And different awareness produces different choices. And different choices produce different results. This is Torah. This is Tikkun. This is the way. Tell me in the comments, which of the 5 types did you recognize in your life? It can be external or internal, both count. Because naming is the first step of any tikkun. And your answer may help someone reading the comments right now recognize something they had not yet named. If this teaching resonated with something real for you, share it with someone who makes financial decisions and deserves to have this shield. A message from you can completely change the trajectory of someone you love. Next week, I will bring a teaching about the concept of mazal, and why it does not mean luck in the way most people think. The root of this word in the Kabbalistic tradition reveals something surprising about how destiny and choice intertwine, and how you can work in favor of your mazal instead of just waiting for it. Don't miss it. Before I let you go, let me speak directly to your heart. You came seeking protection. And what I hope you take away from here is more than just a list of types of people to avoid. I hope you take the understanding that the most important field to protect is the inner field. That the greatest Messisim is always the Amesapek, the doubt that resides within you. And that every time you act with emunah, with bitachon, with kavanah, despite the doubt, you are practicing the highest form of spiritual protection that exists. You are not alone on this path. The Eternal who created the flow of Shefa also created within you the capacity to receive it. You don't need to earn this right. You need to make space for it. May the Eternal bless you and guard every decision you make from today on. May every field you enter be purified by your presence and not disturbed by the presence of others. May the Amesapek within you find day by day less space, and may the flow of Shefa find day by day more. Peace be upon you.